After many months of reaping tons and tons of herbs from a hydroponic system, it was time to plant new seeds. But in order to plant new seeds, you have to get it cleaned. So we decided to go ahead and do just that, but you'll never guess what we discovered. Keep watching and you will see. Hi guys, so today I'm going to be taking my last harvest and then we're going to go ahead and clean the hydroponic system so we can plant some new seeds because we want to get a lot of wonderful new crops growing inside. If you've never been here before, my name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel. Now let's get to harvesting, cleaning, and replanting. So this is what our basil plant has become, or plants I should say. These are about 1 year old. They're not looking so good anymore, a little bit scraggly. So we're going to go in and harvest them, and then we're going to go in and get the system cleaned. And these are some of the things that we used here. You will see that I have my safety goggles and I have some bottle brushes, one large, one medium, one small, but one large and one small is pretty much sufficient. Hydrogen peroxide, I'm going to be using that to clean it, making a solution. They do say not to use detergent to clean them. And I have a bucket here to put, the things that I'm going to be dumping, paper towels, and of course, the seeds that I'm going to be planting. And I'll link these in the description box below, just in case you wanted to get any of those. And of course, you need to have new sponges because the older ones are going to be damaged by the root system. I didn't have enough, so I had to go ahead and get some ordered. So this is what we're going to be using, and let's get going. So the first thing that I did was to go in and harvest the basil. And as you can see, I'm actually using my pruners here because, guys, this was about approximately a year that I've had them in here. And so it has now gotten woody tissue, so it's really tough to get these cut. In my previous video, you'll see that I just used scissors to trim some of the leaves off. But at this point, yeah, they've definitely gotten mature here. So I'm taking them off first, just from the top here. And of course, they still smell really nice and I'm going to be using them. What I do is I freeze them and then, I have them to serve me for a long time. So when I cut these down and it's time for the other ones to come up, I'll still have enough to serve me until they can be harvested. So I just went in and I took them out, and that pretty much took care of that. You can see they're kind of intertwined in some places, but they did so good and I'm very, very pleased with them. So this is what they're looking like right here. The next thing now was to cut it down a little bit further so I could basically, get it taken out from the little white baskets that you're seeing there. And I'm just going in and snipping it off. And of course, the lower down you go, the little wider it is and the tougher it gets. And I'm going to talk about a little further in the video about the time frame that I had them in there for, just to help you for your own experiences. So here I'm taking out the stakes. You can see my labels are still in there. I basically just kept everything in there, just to add additional support for the plants that needed it. And I always like to label everything so that way I know what is what. But I could have taken them out, I guess, once, they were getting mature enough. Then we're going to go ahead and clean everything up over here. And that one at the back, I have to tell you that one was a dud. It never actually germinated. And I tried 2 different times, and for some reason that one did not. But all of the other ones, I had wonderful success with them. Everything else was fine. The basil just lasted longest. The cilantro and the oregano, they died off maybe at about 7-8 months. So it was just the basil that was left, and I just kept harvesting and harvesting. And be careful when you're taking out the water indicator because even though it's made of plastic, it's kind of a tough plastic, so it can snap and break. So, just be careful when you're doing that. And now here's the first thing that we were surprised to see. Guys, look at this right here. This is all roots coming out here. Can you see how much there is right there? It doesn't have an odor, by the way. Everything smells perfectly normal. It just looks horrible. So I'm taking it out. So this is the first warning, guys, is that you don't have them growing for such a long time. So over here now, I'm taking out the plug. I'm unplugging it, is what I should have said before. Be sure to unplug it before you start. And then just, unplug the pump connection right there, so we can go in and get it started. So the first thing I did was to just put it in the sink and give it a good soak with just some water. And this is something that you can do, like on an afternoon, maybe in about 2 hours or so. I think you should be finished if you're going casually, not even going fast. Over here, I'm using some baking soda. Now, they say not to use any detergent at all, which we will want to follow the directions from the manufacturer. But I just put a little baking soda in there. That's just my choice. You can, do whatever you like. But it was a little bit build up on the sides there. Again, nothing that smelled bad or anything, but just to kind of, make it nice and clean. So I went in because the baking soda would kind of add a little bit of, extra power there to get it out. So I just went in and I gently scrubbed it away. And it wasn't damaging the plastic or anything like that. And we actually had snow in our area, so this was a perfect day to do this. Where we were all inside, no one could go out. So, well, apart from the front, but not to drive anywhere. So I just took the time to do it. And once I finished with the sponge, I had to go into the larger brush and get to those little corners that were kind of hard to reach. So it's good to have all of these things, before you start. So you just keep going and you don't have to where to go get this, that, or the other. And I'm just going through and scrubbing out here. And let me know if this is the first time that you ever tried growing anything in a hydroponic system before, or if you're just watching this just to get an idea. You've never grown anything in there before, and what your experience has been if you have grown it. So I'm using the hydrogen peroxide solution here, and I basically just did my own thing, half and half. And again, guys, you can decide what you want to use, but I just put half hydrogen peroxide to half water, and then that was sufficient for me. And this is just to keep it clean. If there's any kind of, bacteria of any sort in there, this is going to go ahead and take care of all of that. And again, wear your safety glasses if you have some, so that way if there are any splashes or anything, it doesn't go in your eyes, especially when you're using the brush, it doesn't come back up in your face, in your eyes or anything like that. I did use bottled water here, but you can use filtered water or even water from the faucet. I think it should still be okay. So I just went ahead and stirred it around, and that was fine. And it was actually at room temperature. And this plastic bottle here, the spray bottle, I got this, I think, from Walmart, maybe about 2 years ago or so. And they're pretty handy. They're good to have those. And if your hand is not very steady, you can always get a funnel to pour it in there, and you should pretty much be good to go. And guys, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I like to use hydrogen peroxide, for different things, for cleaning and on my plants. It's really good to help to prevent, some of the fungal diseases as well, too. So it's a good product to have in your house. But I will say that it will change the color on your clothing, so don't get any splashes when you're using it. You can maybe get an apron or something like that, or just be extra careful, when you do it. So I'm just going in here and just spraying the surface of the system here with it. And then basically I left it, I think maybe for about 20 minutes or so, just to soak in it. So it would be, nicely absorbed in there to get everything taken care of. And then what I did for the, for the basin part of it, I did the same thing for the cover, just going in and scrubbing all the little spots on there and making sure everything was clean. And what I did on the top, I went ahead and I did the same thing on the bottom. And this was just a good way to spend, the afternoon. Like I was saying, it was perfectly fine. And the good thing about this is that you don't have to do this very often. You can do this maybe, every few months or so to your system. But I do have a little warning coming up for you, which we'll get further down in the video. But just to pause for a moment to say that, I do lots of outdoor gardening as well. So if you want to follow along, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell twice so you never miss an upload. I load every Thursday. Sometimes I may have a few sprinkled in between Thursdays. So moving along here now, we're going to go ahead and also treat this as well with the hydrogen peroxide. We just go ahead and get it sprayed on there. And if you're liking this video so far, be sure to give me a thumbs up. It does send a good message out so that this will go out to other people as well. And then I went in and I flipped it over on the other side. And I really, really, I'm happy that I got this system. It has worked so well for me. It was, given to me by the company, and this is not sponsored, by the way. They did send it to me a year ago. This is just another video I'm doing to help those who may want to know how to clean it, and just to, make you aware of some of the things that might go wrong, that you may want to make sure that you put steps in place so it doesn't happen. So over here, and I'm using the smaller brush, which you will definitely need to fit into these baskets to go in and get them clean. And then once I was finished, I went ahead and just sprayed them with the same hydrogen peroxide. Now, if you want, you could just soak them in maybe a container with it in there. But because they're kind of light, they may float up a little bit. So you have to decide. Now, here is the dark side of the story. And it is that the sponges that are in there, right by the pump, if you go in and you reach and pull it out, and you've had your plant growing for a long time, which I did, you will see that there are lots of roots in there. So I had to go in and take the roots out. And apparently that was not enough because I decided to go a little bit further in because you can pull the pump apart. Just be careful as you do it. And then I just went ahead and gently took it off and, just looked to see what was going on in there as well. And unfortunately, there were roots in there. So we were not happy to see that at all. But that's on me because they tell you specifically to make sure that you change it every 6 months or less. To clean it, that is deep cleaning. So you can see my husband took this part off right here from the pump, and there are roots growing inside there. And if they get too aggressive in there, they can actually stop your pump from working. So guys, be sure to clean it. I'd say maybe, even though it smells good and everything is healthy and nice, because the roots grow so fast, you really will want to go in and make sure that you do that. So that dark side is behind us now, and we're just going in and putting the baskets in to get things going again. And typically, I don't use every single one of the baskets because I like the plants to have a little, like space between them. So that's how I do mine. So next, after I made up my solution, I'm going in and pouring it in over here. And again, you can use a funnel here if you like. The main thing is just to make sure everything is nicely washed and clean, so that way you know that you're not introducing any kind of thing in there that's gonna mess up the whole system and cause problems for you down the road. So at this point, hasn't gotten up to the mark yet. Typically, I like to have mine go up to about 4 liters when I'm just starting out. And I just love to watch a plunger as it goes right up as the water level rises. You can go all the way to the top if you want to the maximum line, especially if your plant is more established when you're adding food back to it. But for me personally, I just stop at 4 liters to start. And then, over time, I'll take it higher up because it means you have to mix more solution if you're just filling it in from the start. So that went pretty well. And now I did get or I should say, I finally got my sponges, so I am ready to get them planted. And you pretty much would just use the same steps as before, initially by just putting them in the sponge, getting them a good soak. But to get more details, be sure to check out my Winter Indoor Garden series. I'll link it at the end for you. You can always get a lot of details there as the step-by-steps and all the other things to bear in mind, and some of my harvests that I have. Now, if you do have any issues at this point, there is a customer service contact number in your little manual, so you can definitely give them contact them, reach out to them, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to help you. And just to say, it was cold outside. We did have a snow day or two, and you can see the little squirrel out there. He's eating on her bird feeder. My son actually caught that, from me. So I thought that was really cool. So I said, I'll just put it right in here. But yes, guys, it may be cold and wintry outside, but you have options. You can plant crops indoors, hydroponic system, or other ways. You can plant them in soil. Just depends on what you want to do. But don't let that stop you from getting things that you can enjoy for beauty or enjoy for food. So I do hope that this was helpful to you. I thank you so much for watching. And be sure to come back for more gardening topics. Happy gardening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.